And we are back. We are back in action. The Jag Bros are back in action for week 3. Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. I'm JT Raymond, one of your 3 hosts, alongside my 2 brothers, Jack and Joey. We are 3 Jag huge fans from the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now 2025, where the season is looking up, the Jaguars are looking up, and we're excited to see what Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen and then the boys will do for this week. As every week, we will continue to break down and give you a quick preview of the game that's coming up, but also, we want to continue to interact with our fans. So follow us if you like the content on wherever you get your podcast. Give us a 5-star review. And look, we're looking for different ways to engage with us. One of our uncle's friends, Mike, was messaging us last week saying, "Where is our merch?" He wanted to wear a matching Jag Bros hat with our uncle to his next book club meeting.
Let's go, baby.
Exactly. So if you guys agree with Mike and are interested in some Jag Bros merch, let us know, and we will look down that route. Yeah, we'd be excited to see some Jag Bros merch out there in the wild. But speaking of wild, let's see if the Jaguars will be able to bounce back against the Texans, a team we've struggled to beat a lot. I think we are 1-2 out of the last 14 matches against the Texans. So in the last 7 years, we've only beaten the Texans twice, including some years where they've been really bad and years where we've actually made the playoffs. So guys, how are we feeling about this game?
Man, this is a statement game. So the Texans are coming off Monday night loss, so they're now sitting at 0-2. The Jags, we talked about last episode, go listen to that, just how we let that game slip away from us against the Bengals with all sorts of missed opportunities. It's a big rivalry game. It's going to be loud in the bank. If you think back to last year, this is in many ways a revenge game. The last time Trevor played against the Texans, he got taken out in that dirty play by Aziz. So it is going to be an amazing game, an epic game. It's going to be intense on Sunday.
It's going to be a chippy game. I believe that there'll be probably a fight, maybe even 2. Houston's going to be desperate. This is their season on the line. If they lose and go 0-3, then they're going to be doing what the Jaguars have been doing for the last kind of couple seasons of, all right, if the calculations of here or there, maybe we can make the playoffs. Like, they'll already be in full panic mode. So we got to come out and hit them in the mouth early. They're going to be really trying hard. Their defense plays hard. It's going to be a battle. And I'm excited to see how this team responds to the loss that should have been a 1. Now you're back at home, big game. You're going to be wearing the Prowlers for the first time and everything to play for. You go and you win this week. You kind of redeem yourself, and everyone's going to be looking at the Jaguars after that. So this is a huge, huge statement game.
You're right, Joey. 0-3 start for the Texans is almost a death nail for their chance to make the playoffs. Since 1990, only 4 teams have actually done that, which is about 2.5% that have made the playoffs starting out 0-3. So if we could deliver this death nail to the Houston Texans in September, oh, that would be so sweet. The only caveat I will say is the last team to have started out 0-3 and still make the playoffs was, in fact, the Houston Texans back in 2018. So knowing the Jaguars, it's not over till it's over, but boy, this would be a big one to get under, a big win to get under our belts this week.
A big, big, big game. I mean, you can't emphasize enough. Yes, it's only week 3, but it still feels like a game that's got massive implications for the rest of the season. Let's go ahead and start breaking it down. Let's start strength on strength. Jaguars offense versus the Texans defense. Joey, you mentioned the Jags need to start off fast. They've been able to do that the last 2 games with the opening drive field goal, then opening drive touchdown last. The Texans' strength is their defense and their secondary. And so you looking at this game, where do the Jaguars have an opportunity to capitalize against the Texans' defense?
For how good this defense is, you can run on them. That's where we need to take advantage of the Houston's defense. Kind of up the middle. We watched the Buccaneers be able to run on them a little bit. The Rams ran on them a little bit. Their pass defense is very good. They have one of the best corners with Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. get to the quarterback very well, if not always kind of pressuring. So if we do throw it, it's going to have to be quicker passes. It's going to be shorter developing plays because this team blitzes and gets to the quarterback quickly. We're going to need to be able to run, screen, and shorter passes.
The run game is going to be huge. I agree with you totally, Joey. That's what the Jags have done really well in the first 2 weeks. In fact, which this is just crazy to even say. I know we haven't played the top two defenses in the league so far, but Jaguars are currently number one in rush yards and yards per carry with over 200 yards in week 1 and then nearly 170 in week 2. Travis Etienne is second in the entire NFL in rush yards. And then I saw this stat today, which is crazy. Do you want to know who is 32nd in the league for runs for 0 gains or negative yards? Your Jacksonville Jaguars, 8.2%. We just have not gotten stopped at the line. We just have been able every single play to go get yards. So you're right, Joey. The Bucks ran all over them. 30 carries, 169, 5.6 yards per carry. The Rams struggled. They were actually just under 3 yards per carry. So can the Jags offensive line create some holes for that 1-2 punch of Tootin and Etienne and go run the ball down their throats?
That would be great. And of that 169 against the Bucks last week, 33 of that was Baker. So I would actually like to see Trevor potentially take off and run a couple of times. We saw him once take off and run 5 yards before throwing it downfield. But if you just tucked it, I think he would have gotten about 10 yards of the first down pretty easily. Or what we could have done too is there's a time where he threw it in the back of the end zone to BTJ, who inexplicably took a jump. And I'm pretty sure he could have ran it in for a touchdown there. So I'd like to see Trevor make some runs. That's a wrinkle we haven't been able to take advantage of yet. But look, make no mistakes. The Texans are an extremely well-coached defense. DeMeco Ryans, ever since he's left San Francisco has never been the same. So I would expect to get their best punch, but I really trust Liam Cohen's play calling to really design a few plays and take advantage of some of the weaknesses that the Houston Texans have to be able to maximize our output. But guys, one other question on this offense that I think all Jaguar fans and probably a lot of fantasy players are trying to understand: what do we do with BTJ this game? Do we think he gets right, or are we about to see more of the same of what we've seen so far?
From the interviews and everything that I've seen about BTJ and the team talking, it seems like they are going to trust him again this week. There's a lot of trust build up in BTJ with how well he did last year, and we know that he's talented. So they're going to try it again with him. And the question will be, is it going to be as heavy? Like, we threw 12 targets to him. I think it gets cut down a little bit more to 7, but it's going to be in the game kind of idea. If these start off just like the first drive and he catches 2 passes right away, maybe you implement him more. But I think it's going to be kind of the in the moment thing. The second he kind of starts doing what he did last week, I think you could see him get shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at this from a fantasy football perspective, I have BTJ in one of my leagues. I mean, I'm going to be honest, that team's not very good. At least that fantasy team, I'm 0-2, so I probably have to start him there. But if you have a pretty good squad at wide receiver, like if it's a 50-50 call, I would definitely bench him, because I think the Jags are going to feed the hot hand, and that's Parker Washington coming off a great game. I think you see an uptick in snaps for him. And I think it is going to be a more of a game time. Let's see how he looks. Let's see if the body language looks good. The reality is he's going to probably be matched up on, to your point, Joey, one of the top 3 corners in the league in terms of Derek Stingley Jr. So, yes, BTJ had some nice success last year on him, but I wouldn't necessarily circle that from a fantasy perspective, or even circle that as like, hey, the Jags have an advantage here. I would just say anything you get from Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be nice, but this is too big of a game to try and force feed him 10, 11, 12 targets if he's not on and if he's not feeling it in this game on Sunday.
I completely agree with your take there, guys. I will say I would love to see for him to line up more on the outside, take more of that Mike Evans style role that the Bucs had versus the slot receiver, which is such a key pivotal role to the Liam Cohen offense, primarily because he doesn't look comfortable catching the ball over the middle and catching the ball in traffic. We outlined the fact that, hey, a lot of his route tree in college was primarily go routes and outside routes. And that is primarily how we used him last year with Press Taylor and Mac Jones, primarily because Press Taylor and Doug Peterson almost always just ran outside routes. So it'll be interesting. I trust Liam Cohen to figure it out. But yes, if he doesn't look comfortable, I don't think we're going to see 9 targets again, unless all of a sudden we've awoken this beast, which we've seen some of the top end talent that he can do. So it would be. I agree with you, Jack. This is a huge question mark against a pretty solid pass defense.
Doing some easy routes for him, some screens, kind of get him just back used to the game, get his confidence back up. But yeah, I don't see kind of tough passes over the middle coming anytime next game, because Houston's defense hits hard and they are headhunters. They made Puka Nacua bleed, took him out of the game twice in the Rams game. Luckily, he didn't have a concussion and came back, but they lead with their shoulder and they come full tilt. So I really don't see them throwing him over the middle anytime soon in this game.
I would give the edge here to the Texans secondary. Lassiter is their other corner who's played very well. They have Gardner Johnson and Caleb Bullock, a young ball hawk safety. So Trevor's got to limit mistakes, and a big part of that is going to come, again, strength on strength, which is crazy to say, but so far the Jags offensive line has been a massive strength. They've given up only 1 sack through 2 games on the very last play of the Bengals game. The Texans have gotten after the quarterback. They got 4 sacks on the Bucs, 3 sacks on the Rams. Both Hunter and Anderson Jr. already have 2 sacks throughout the season. So the offensive tackle versus edge rusher matchup is going to be huge, and it's going to be a big game to see, okay, Walker Little, Anton Harrison, the early success through the first 2 games, is that legit? Because this will be the toughest game that we've gone up against strong edge rushers.
Yeah, with these strong edge rushers, I mean, JT brought it up, Baker Mayfield running quite a bit. I want to see Trevor move around in this pocket. If he stands too still, I could see them, even with our better offensive line, still allowing 2+ sacks, because they are very good and will get home eventually. If he's able to move around the pocket, maybe take off, move up into the pocket, I think Trevor needs to be able to be mobile this week.
Speaking of strong edge rushers, let's flip sides now and look at our defense versus their offense. And in some ways, a lot of folks were saying that CJ Stroud regressed last year, and they're chalking that up to a potential sophomore slump. But really, the first 2 games, we haven't seen anything that special from him as well. In fact, Nico Collins had his best game so far last week, and that was 3 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown. Nothing that scares you. He's got a few other receivers, none of which that scare you either, in Xavier Hutchinson, Jaden Higgins, a high draft pick guy out of Iowa State that's new. Tank Dell, who's had some good games against us historically, is out still, recovering from an injury he suffered last year. Dalton Schultz is their tight end, who's fine, but not like an athletic freak or somebody that would be able to take advantage of you. And Nick Chubb right now is getting the bulk of their rushing attack, and he's a shell of himself coming back from his own injury. Last week, he had 12 carries for 43 yards against a very good Buccaneers defense, especially stopping the run. 2 catches for 29 too. Look, CJ Stroud's right there at the bottom 5 right now in a lot of quarterbacking stats, from completion percentage to QBR. What do you guys think of CJ Stroud? Are you scared of this offense? Do you feel like they have another gear that they could hit against Jacksonville?
Well, I will say, hot off the press, it looks like Christian Kirk will suit up for his opener on the Texans. So he's going to obviously want a revenge game against us. But then there's also an interesting story here, too, because Eric Murray played for the Texans and now has had a phenomenal start so far in 2 games. JT, I know you're extremely high on him, and he has, I believe, already 2 interceptions for the Jags. And so that's going to be kind of fun. Maybe those guys even line up against each other now, switch jerseys. So hopefully Eric Murray for the Jags can have a nice game against his former team.
Yeah, I'm not scared by this offense at all. If you watched the Tampa Bay game, you can see they don't know how to handle a blitz at all. We need a blitz constantly. And I mean constantly, because the second they threw at least 5 people rushing, CJ had no time. It was constantly a sack, or it was a run for absolutely no yards, or in the backfield. Offensive line is Swiss cheese when it comes to a blitz. And we need to take advantage of that. I really hope we don't blitz 4 and try to play a pass defense, because then I do think that this team could sit back and pick us apart, because sorry, our secondary is not that great. And then we just went and released one of our safeties, Savage, who's played actually quite a bit in the first 2 games. Understand that Antonio Johnson's right behind him. I think they want to get him to play some, but a little bit questionable right before the Houston Texans game, a very important game, that you go and you cut someone that was getting playing time, not a starter by any means, but he had about 30 to 40 snaps in the last 2 games. We need to make sure that we blitz and make sure that CJ Stroud has no time whatsoever. And when Tampa Bay rushed 4, CJ Stroud had time, and those are the only times he completed a pass. And you also have to watch out for Woody Marks. They like to pass it to him, and their 2 touchdowns came off of plays where they threw it to the running back and he was able to break it for like 30 yards. So you need to watch the dump off to the running back is a pretty big play in this Houston's offense.
My biggest concern is Nico Collins is good. We know he has a high ceiling, and he's going to be going against Campbell, who Nico Collins has historically owned Campbell, like a lot of wide receiver ones on teams. So that would be my biggest concern. That'll be my key to the game when we give that out here in a minute. But I do expect Houston to be able to score. I expect them not to be able to run at all. So this feels like a game where they are going to attack us through the air. It might honestly come down to the Nico Collins and Campbell matchup.
To zoom out a bit, this is a matchup where, if the first one was strength on strength, this kind of weakness on weakness, because the Texans offense was their Achilles heel last year. That's why they fired their OC. They go out and they go get Nick Caley from the Rams. I mean, who doesn't get hired from the Sean McVay coaching tree? But so far it hasn't clicked yet. They have not been able to get the pass game rolling. The rush offense looks mid. And so there's definitely an opportunity. And the biggest one is going to be get after CJ Stroud. There's holes, there's weaknesses on their offensive line. They're starting a rookie at left tackle, Ariante Ursery, in a second-round pick from University of Minnesota. Then even right tackle, Titus Howard, is going to be a mismatch. It is time for Trayvon Walker, who had a very nice game week 2. Josh Hines-Allen is top 3 in the league in terms of pressures, but hasn't yet recorded a sack. When the Jags won a couple years ago in Houston, Joey, you and I were at that game. That was a game where we got after CJ Stroud all day. If the Jags want to win, that's got to be the game plan for the defense. Again, get after him. Don't give him time, because, if the secondary's got to cover these guys 3-4 seconds, we're going to be in big trouble.
All right, let's go to the keys of the game. Let's start on the offensive side. What is your key to victory for the Jaguars?
It's the running game for me, and then being able to to win this game. I think you need to be 100+ yards and have.
That's it?
Yeah, I don't see this as a high-scoring game, to be honest. I don't think highly of Houston's offense. I think highly of Houston's defense. I think our offense will play well, but maybe struggle in the red zone. So it could be a lot of field goals. So I think if we are able just to get over 100+ yards rushing and get our throwing game, BTJ has less than 2 drops, I think we win this game.
I agree on establishing the run. I would up it. I think we need to be closer to that 160, 170 yards. That's where we've been over the first 2 weeks. That's what the Bucs did last week with 169 yards. I think that yards per carry is going to be big too. Can you continue to stay over 5 yards per carry? We've done that in the first 2 weeks. The Bucs were just at 5.6. But one more key I'm going to add offensively is a fast start. The Jaguars have scored on both opening drives. The Texans are going to come in desperate. And if the Jags offense can score twice in the first quarter, I think if the Jags are already at 10 points, you feel like the Texans offense is going to really, really, really have to press. And that could lead to some bad throws and big mistakes by Stroud. So Give me the Jags offense to score double digits in the first quarter, and then I feel fantastic about us winning this game.
Okay, so off to a fast start, establishing the running game. Offensively, I'm going to go on the turnovers train. I think that is going to be the key differentiator. I think Jacksonville will be able to move the ball pretty effectively. We know we have a great kicker. We seem to be getting better at converting in the red zone. So let's limit the turnovers. I think we don't have to be perfect, but I think we need to be under 2 turnovers to in order to win this game. Let's try to limit those interceptions or random fumbles. If we do that, I think offensively that's going to be enough, because I agree with you, Joey. I don't think we need to score 30 like we were going to have to do against the Bengals, but I do think we're going to have to score 20 to 24 in order to win this game.
All right, so defensively, I'll get us rolling. I think the key is going to be limiting touchdowns, forcing field goals. That has been the big struggle early for the Texans. In fact, through 2 games, they only have 2 total touchdowns. They had 3 field goals in week 1, and then week 2, they put up 19 points with 2 touchdowns there. I think if you are forcing them to kick field goals over touchdowns, that is going to be massive for the Jags defense.
I think it all comes down to the defensive line and getting to CJ Stroud. Being able to blitz, throw in some safety blitz, corner blitz, linebacker blitz, throw them off, make sure they're uncomfortable all game long. This offense isn't strong enough to handle that. If you're mixing and matching your blitz packages and you allow them to not gain another yard, we
blitz
win this game
all
easy.
night.
That's what I want. I'm telling you, they cannot handle it. If you do it, they may not score.
Yeah, I think I already alluded to where I'm going with this. Mine is going to be the matchup with Nico Collins. I think Nico Collins needs to have under 80 yards receiving. It's about what I had for Chuba Hubbard for rushing yards, that is, against them. But yeah, Nico Collins, 80 yards or less receiving. If he's not getting his, even with Christian Kirk potentially producing a nice game in a revenge game, I just don't think they have enough firepower to score 20 plus points if Nico Collins is not also going for 100 plus yards.
You also have to know Christian Kirk's not played with this team like at all. He's been hurt the majority of the offseason and everything, so he's not going to have any sort of chemistry with CJ Stroud. I understand he's coming back and he wants a revenge game, but I just can't see him being that big of a factor at all.
Well, we shall see on Sunday, but before we go, it is the big time. Drum roll, please. It is the prediction time. All 3 of us missed last week, unfortunately, although we were very close on the final score. Of course, we all picked the Jags, and the Bengals were able to steal that one away from us. Shout out to RJ on X, one of our followers. He had the closest prediction with Bengals 28, Jags 25. As always, drop your predictions here in the YouTube comments or follow us on X. We'll post this later in the weekend, and you can give us your predictions. We'll give a shout out to whoever is closest. But of the 3 of us, who would like to get a start for your prediction on Sunday, Jags versus Texans in Jacksonville?
I'll go. Give me another Jags win. 23-20, a game where we settle for a decent amount of field goals, but the defense bends, not breaks. I do think Nico Collins probably goes for 100, but I think we do just enough. We limit the turnovers, and we win with a last-second kick for a field goal.
I got us winning as well. I just, the way, if you look at the leaders of rushing, leaders of passing, leaders of offense, and also leaders of defensive turnovers, we are in the top 5 in all of those categories. Houston's in the bottom. I mean, I understand they'll be desperate, and there's history of us losing this game, but I think this season's been a lot of breaking points for a lot of these historic the Bengals always lose in the beginning. Well, guess what? They're 2-0. And there's other ones that have been broken as well. I think that the Jaguars go out and break this curse that Houston has had on us at home. I think we protect our house. We win 21-16. I think we get 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and we come away with the victory.
All right, I love it. It's a new era Jags football. Yes, the Texans have had our number for the last several seasons, too many seasons, but I totally agree with y'all. And I have a big, bold prediction. They call you a madman until it happens. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game 27 to Houston 12. I love the Jaguars to jump out early, the Texans to get desperate, the Texans to begin to crumble. They are going to become the Jaguars of 2024, a team with high expectations that start off terrible, and all of a sudden everyone's pointing fingers. Is Stroud the guy or not? Is DeMeco Ryans the right coach or not? Give me a huge Duuuval win for the Jacksonville Jaguars, 27 to 12.
I have thought the Houston Texans have mirrored the Jaguars very similarly, but just a year behind us. So their 2024 season is our last season, I feel like. I think that this is not a great season for them. And you're right, Jack. I think that we can have a blowout win, and the only way that happens is if we have a lot less flags, a lot less penalties. If we make fewer mistakes, I think it can be a blowout victory.
Well, I did want to add one more feature just for a little bit of fun. I asked ChatGPT for their prediction of the game. So just to make it 4 for 4, they also have the Jaguars 24 to the Texans 20. So we'll kind of see who knows more about Jags ball, the 3 Jag Bros or ChatGPT. I think I'll just throw that in throughout the season just to track something else too.
Well, hey, we're going to need 2 televisions because the Colts are playing the Titans, and if the Titans can somehow pull off the upset, then the Jaguars are going to be sitting on top of the AFC South again, which would be a welcome sight. And you have delivered a really, really severe blow to the Texans at that point. Bring home the W in Jacksonville, and let's close this out.
Well, it's going to be a big game. It's a rivalry game. It is a big game. Week 3, Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans. Joey, you called it out. We're wearing the Prowler jerseys. Feels like hopefully the wind is in the favor of the Jaguars, but we'll find out soon enough. So all Jags fans, go ahead and make sure you subscribe on any and all platforms for podcasts or for YouTube. Go ahead and check us out on X as well. We'll be tweeting throughout the game too, but we're going to close it out and hopefully say this a bunch on Sunday. Duuuval.